Still continuing on angles, we're going to look at angle addition postulate. Again, you don't need to make a tab, it's just all under angles. So this will be the third video. Alright, you're going to take a sheet of paper and you're just going to tear out the corner of the sheet of paper. Once you tear out the corner of the sheet of paper, put it on your book like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to just trace out the lines on the edges. Label A, B, and then C. Then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to make some kind of angle. Let's make it more to the left. You're going to tear it not all the way, just almost to the end, but not all the way, so that it looks just like that. Right, then you're going to trace out that part right there, and you can label that D. Right, you're going to take some tape and just stick in the end part. Alright, so let's take a look at an example. If the measure of angle ABC and M, that little M stands for measure, the value, so it's like an actual value, so like 60 degrees, 40 degrees, whatever it is. So you need to learn this notation because this is how the questions are going to be. So if the measure of angle ABC is 160 degrees, and the measure of angle 1 is equal to x plus 14, and the measure of angle 2 is equal to 3x minus 10, find the value of x. Okay, so this will be a typical question that you'd get about angle addition postulate. Alright, then pause the video and copy down all those steps. Listening check, underline addition in the title. So let's take a look at it. This is just like the line segment addition postulate, only it's an angle. So it's part 1 plus part 2 equals the whole thing again. Alright, so that little triangle, that part right there, plus this other part equals the whole thing. So they're saying that that whole thing, ABC, is 160. The measure 1, which is just this one, is going to be x plus 14. So I forgot to write down that that's measure 1 in the question. So that's x plus 14. And then the other one's going to be measure 2, which is 3x minus 10. And that's going to be part 2. So just like before, part 1 plus part 2 is equal to the whole thing. So after I've labeled it, I've drawn it, I've labeled it, I write down part 1 plus 2 is equal to the whole 2. Set up the equation. So part 1 is x plus 14 plus, what's part 2? 3x minus 10. Throw positive by mistake, keep it negative. Equals the whole thing, which is what? 160. Alright, once you set it up, solve for the variable. So let's go ahead and draw my river. And I want to see boxes and circles, boxes over the variables, circles over the numbers. Don't forget the symbol. Alright, let's move stuff. Let's move the 14 to the side, crosses the river, negative 14. Negative 10 crosses the river, becomes positive 10 again. Go ahead and correct that because I copied the part 2 wrong. So we're going to have 4x equals 160 plus 10, which is 170, minus 14, which is 156. I hope you are listening to me and not just copying down what I wrote, because that's what you get for not listening. Alright, so 4x equals 156. Divide both sides by 4. You're going to get x equals 39 degrees. Listening check, color in that positive 10 in a circle. Alright, let's take a look at another example. Question is, find angle QRS if the measure of angle QRS is equal to 12n, the measure of angle QRH is equal to 5n plus 1, and the measure of angle HRS is equal to 76. Okay, so again, we're going to draw a diagram and label it. So Q, R, S, and then that cuts down to H. All right, let's label it. So label it using the given information. So we got QRS is what? 12n. So that whole thing is equal to 12n. Then QR H is equal to 5n plus 1, so that little piece on the left is 5n plus 1, and HRS is equal to 76, so that little part is equal to 76. Alright, so again, write down part 1 plus part 2 is equal to the whole thing. Listening check, put a box around example 2. Put a box around example 2. Then go ahead and set up my equation. So what's part 1? Part 1 is that left-hand piece, which is 5n plus 1. Part 2 is 76, and the whole thing is 12n. boxes and circles, draw my river, don't forget my symbols. Alright, let's go ahead and move the 5n to the other side, it becomes negative 5n. And then combine like terms, so that's going to be 77 equals 7n. Divide both sides by 7, and you're going to get n is equal to 11. Now be very, very careful, because they always try and trick you. Reread the question. Did you answer the question? No, because it says it wants angle QRS. So angle QRS is equal to 12n. Now that we know what n is, all you got to do is plug it in. So angle QRS is 12 times 11, which is equal to 132. So again, if you did not finish the question, go ahead and plug it back in. Must read the question in geometry after you finish the math, just to make sure you did answer it. Okay, and that's pretty much all there is to it. All right, let's practice.